Welcome to Yangon. A lot of Southeast Asia has been overcome with tourism in recent years, catering to backpackers and people who are going there for exotic beaches and everything like that. Yangon hasn't really been hit by this wave yet. There's still very much a raw vibe here, a lot of local traditions and just life going on. So there's a couple observations that I made and I want to just show them to you while I'm walking around. Pigeons everywhere. Yangon has pigeons everywhere. People sit and feed the pigeons all day. God knows why. Why would you feed pigeons? Pigeons are not a fun bird to be around. They just all over you. So you walk under like these wires that are everywhere, you are liable to get on by 100 pigeons. I should probably say that without cursing, but I've never seen so many pigeons in a place. Second thing, betel nuts are huge here. So like they're these little red nuts that you go to every corner and they'll have this stand. So she takes the leaf and she wets it, and then she puts it down there, wipes the paste on it, then she has the little seeds there that she's gonna use to put on the leaf, and then she'll wrap it up, and then she'll put a toothpick in it, and that's what she'll give to people. But the people chew it. They put it in the side of their mouth and they spit out the juice. The juice gets all over the streets and it stains it red. It stains their teeth red. It's definitely something that the Burmese people are addicted to. It's everywhere. Like on every single corner you'll find the betel leaf, and people are chewing it and spitting it all the time. You get a cab driver that, first of all, the grabs here, the cars, no seatbelts, it's just a bench, and they drive like mad. It's like stop, go. People lay on horns like it's their freaking job. And yeah, anyways, they'll open the door and spit the betel leaf. The cabs here are really cheap. Like if we took a cab to Squirrel Pagoda, and it was like 2,000 kyat, which is like $1.30. So it's really not anything. Like if you don't want to walk, then you don't have to walk. I enjoy walking around the cities, especially in the morning, to see the morning market, to see the morning life. There's not a lot of tourists here. Not a lot at all. It's very much just locals living their life and going on with their local traditions. Little kids walking around with their parents, and they all have the thanaka on their face, and it's adorable. It's absolutely adorable. The naka is a white paste that women and some men put on their face to protect from the sun and for some beauty purposes. It's made from the thanaka tree. They sell them in like branches, so you'll have like this white tree bark that they'll crush up into a paste and they'll put on their cheeks, and it protects them from the sun. It honestly looks really cool. One thing that's kind of cool about Yangon is you get these begging Buddhist monks that walk around the streets in the morning. And there's even these little baby monks who are training, I guess, to be Buddhist monks or learning the faith. And they'll just have these little buckets and they'll ask for money. I don't think they work, so it's how they fund their life. So it's a good thing to participate in if you're here. Just give them a couple kyat and it'll definitely help their cause. But it's absolutely adorable. Like, these kids just walk up to you with these little buckets, and they have these little shaved heads. The monk haircut, which is like clean shaven, but like a day or two old, so you get the little hairs. It's awesome. One of the things I've noticed from traveling around the world is that most of the beautiful things in the area, because where most of the money is in religious monuments. You go to Europe, you're gonna see a lot of churches. We joked about in Russia they call them choiches. We're gonna go see another choich. In Asia you'll see stupas, which is a word for like the bell-shaped Buddhist monuments, typically made of gold or coated in gold. You might see other temples that's maybe more Hindu. They'll look more like a drippy castle, like at the beach when you're dripping sand on the ground, and less like a bell. If it's shaped like a bell, it's typically Buddhist, from my experience. The Chinese temples are incredibly elaborate. They're more of like a go-in kind of place instead of an observe from the outside, like, oh, it's big and beautiful on the outside kind of thing. It's more of extremely elaborate detail on the ceilings, on the walls, tons of colors, and there's people in there actually praying. There are so many Buddhists. Like when we went to Yangon, there's like, I don't know, thousands of Buddhas, like Buddha statues and tiny little altars for people to meditate. One of the things that allures me a lot about Buddhism is the focus on meditation. Like, I think they got that right. It's interesting to see everywhere you go, you see people who don't really have much and they're happy, but they got their faith and they have family and they have community, and those are the things that really bring us together. Those are the things that are really the meat in life. And it's not money, it's not consumerism, it's not how big your house is or what car you drive, it's the people you know, it's the content of your character, it's what do you really believe, like who are you? And you see in places where people really don't have much, that's accentuated. But I get this feeling a lot in Southeast Asia, and it's moving every time. It doesn't get old. It really doesn't get old. It's like everyone's working together and people will help you. I'll write about it in my blog, Live Naturally Inquisitive. Plug more betel juice. People just spit it on the steps. It's like, dude, just carry on a bottle. Like, side note, it's been a struggle to make the recordings for this video without saying the word betel juice 3 times. Don't want that guy running around here. Can't handle that right now. Yangon's enough on its own. I am on 18th Street at a morning market where a lot of the locals will buy their fresh produce, their fresh fish, chicken, pork, anything that they're gonna use in their restaurant or their household, they get here. Now, they have stands on either side of the road, and sometimes they'll have people sitting in the middle of the road with small baskets. Now, sometimes there's a car or a cart that needs to make it through, and so they have to drive through the center of the road. Some people move their stuff to the side of the road so it doesn't get run over. Some people just put it on the ground so it's low enough so that the car will drive straight over it. It's bizarre. I mean, think about that. You have your produce, I've seen fish, all of this just going under this car that's going 2 miles an hour, no, 1 mile an hour to push through traffic. One of the things that I found interesting in Asia is that they don't refrigerate their eggs. Their eggs are just sitting on the counter or they're sitting on a shelf. You'll go to like a 7-Eleven and there'll just be a dozen eggs just sitting on the shelf. I learned about it, and apparently it's not that bad for you, but the FDA isn't a fan. What I think is really cool about Yangon in particular is that they're not here for tourists. They're here living their daily life and doing things for themselves and for the local community. If you try to negotiate with somebody and undercut them or try to get, you know, something, just one fruit instead of a kilo of fruit, they won't sell it to you. They'll just tell you no. If they don't have something, they're not gonna run next door and make sure they get it for you. They'll just tell you no. And that's okay, because it's like, you go to Thailand and Vietnam, and when you see the economy that is 100% built for tourism, and people relying on tourism, and they're competing with their peers based on tourism, they have to go out of their way to bend over backwards to make sure that they serve your needs. The local currency here is kyat. Typically, it's about 1,500 kyat to $1 US. If you're looking for a Coke or something like that, it might cost you 800 or up to 1,000 kyat. Meals will cost you 1,500 to 2,500 kyat if it's a cheaper meal. If you want a fruit, probably 1,000 kyat. So everything's very cheap. I haven't had any trouble with food poisoning, and I've eaten a ton of street food and in some risky places. Just because I'm here, I'm not here to eat KFC or McDonald's. I'm here to experience the culture, and if I get sick, I get sick. Hopefully I don't. Cross my fingers. You know, we go to restaurants sometimes and people just stare at us. Especially when we were in Myanmar, when we were crossing the border, people legitimately just stared at us like we were zoo animals. And it was bizarre. It's like almost like you're a celebrity, but it's more raw than that. You're like a spectacle. So you have a ton of these roadside shops that sell breakfast, usually a rice with either chicken or pork or fish, some sauteed vegetables. They just throw it together. I had it my first day. It was pretty good. So Goda's cheaper than Booking.com and Hostel World sometimes, because sometimes they'll run promos. So I'm at the Backpacker Bed and Breakfast. It's a nice hostel. It's clean. The beds are comfy. It's $4 a night. Has a rooftop bar, great view of the harbor and of the city. It's good for watching a sunset. They sell drinks and sodas and some food. Free juice, free coffee, free breakfast. It's like 2 pieces of toast and a couple eggs and banana, coffee. What more do you need? The best restaurant that I found near my hostel is called the Golden Duck. It's a Chinese restaurant. They have bomb Chinese food and it's real cheap. Other than that, you can go to like local Burmese restaurants. I recommend tea leaf salad. I haven't tried too much other stuff. It's hard because a lot of these menus aren't written at all in English. So it's like, you don't know what you're getting. They don't have pictures. Some of them don't have prices. So you like ask the guy, oh, like how much does this cost? And he's like he doesn't know what you're saying. And you'll be like, what's the price? What's the price? He'll bring you out another menu that has all the prices on it. So it's like they give you the menu without the prices so that you order it so they can make up the price and just charge it to you because you don't know how much things cost. But definitely be careful. We almost got scammed the first day we were here. Anyone asking you if you want a tour of Dala Township or saying, oh, I'm just trying to learn English. My family was killed in the tsunami in 2004 and I'm just trying to learn English to better my life. I'll show you around my town and show you the free temples if you just talk to me and teach me English. They will rob you. So don't get on their scooter and go over the river and end up confronted by a bunch of guys on scooters asking you for $200 to get back to Yangon. We almost did. Good thing I Googled it. And good thing Gustavo had a bad feeling about it. You know, like I was like trusting this guy. It was a good lesson, a free lesson from the universe to be trusting of people, but also don't be naive. Like don't act like people in an area where there's not a lot of money. Don't scam and rob people, especially Western tourists who are willing to jump on the back of a scooter of someone they just met. But I've had good experiences like that, so it's tough. It's a balance. It's a balance. You gotta take every situation as they come. And I mean, that's what the backpacking life is about, right? It's solving problems. It's like going about your life in a way that you encounter challenges every day. Whether it's, you know, I want to eat to save budget. I want to go explore this new area. I want to rent a scooter and drive out into the countryside. There's so many different problems that you encounter, and sometimes you make the wrong decision. Sometimes you get scammed. Sometimes you get robbed. Sometimes you end up in a hostel with bed bugs. But that's part of the adventure. You know, this isn't vacation. This is travel. It's different. They will run you over. So I'm gonna put this away. Bye.